The fog rolled in thick over the old pier, swallowing the wooden planks in a suffocating gray. Detective Marcus Hale's breath came in ragged bursts, his boots crunching against the frost-covered boards. At the edge, the K9 Titan, a towering German shepherd with intelligence in every wary movement, stopped abruptly, hackles raised, low growl vibrating through the mist. Something invisible, yet unmistakably sinister, stirred below. Hale's heart tightened as memories of unsolved cases flickered like shadows in his mind. Somewhere in the dense fog lay a secret the town had buried, and tonight, the K9's instincts would force it into cold, unforgiving light. If you're following the story online, your support means a lot. Consider liking and subscribing for more tense cinematic thrillers. The fog clung to Brindle Cove like a shroud, thickening around the skeletal remains of the old fishing pier. Wooden planks, slick with frost and decay, grown under every step Marcus Hale took. The town had gone quiet hours ago, the usual hum of distant engines and late-night laughter replaced by the occasional cry of a gull and the restless slap of water against pilings. Even Titan, Hale's German shepherd, seemed tense, ears pricked, nose quivering in the mist. "Easy, boy," Hale murmured, more to steady himself than Titan. The dog's low growl cut through the fog like a knife. He paused at the edge, peering into the gray nothingness. Something was there, something the fog wasn't hiding by accident. The call had come just before midnight. A local fisherman reported a strange smell drifting from the pier, almost metallic, almost chemical, and then a flash of movement, too deliberate to be the wind. Brindle Cove was the kind of town where nothing happened. And when it did, the repercussions were felt for years. Hale had been chasing cases like this for a decade, each one a whisper of the darkness simmering beneath the town's picture-perfect exterior. He flicked his flashlight, the beam slicing through the fog in an uneven cone. Shadows stretched and twisted across the pier, as if the boards themselves were alive, hiding something just beyond sight. Titan growled again, sharper this time, hackles bristling. Hale clenched his jaw. The K9 never erred. "Show me," he whispered. The dog pivoted, sniffing the air before lunging toward a section of the pier where the fog seemed thicker, heavier. Hale followed, every step cautious, the weight of years and unspoken fears pressing on him. Halfway down the pier, Hale noticed faint drag marks in the frost. Subtle, easily missed, but as trained I caught them immediately. The marks led toward the water, then abruptly veered under a tangle of rotting nets and fishing gear. Titan sniffed along the line, then barked once, low and insistent, pawing at the obstruction. Hale knelt, pulling aside the nets, revealing a small hatch, half hidden by moss and grime. The metallic scent was stronger here. He wiped a hand across the wood, feeling the cold slickness of water and something else, something darker, heart-pounding. He opened the hatch slowly. Inside was a cramped, shadowed space, barely tall enough to sit upright in. And then he saw it, a body, a woman bound at the wrists and ankles, her face pale in the dim flashlight beam, eyes wide and unseeing. The smell was overwhelming now. Coppery metallic, of blood mixed with seawater. Titan barked again, growling as if challenging the stillness. Hale swallowed, forcing his breath steady. He had seen bodies before, too many, but this felt personal. The woman's hair was plastered to her face, streaked with grime. Something about her posture, the way she had been left here, made Hale's stomach knot. He pulled out his radio. "Dispatch, this is Hale. We got a potential crime scene on the old pier. Send backup. And K9 trained for evidence recovery. ASAP." He moved carefully around the hatch, making sure not to disturb the fragile scene. Titan stayed close, growling intermittently, ears flicking toward every sound the fog tried to hide. There was movement in the shadows, a rat, perhaps, but Hale couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Minutes stretched into eternity before the faint wail of sirens echoed through the mist. Backup had arrived, officers emerging like ghosts from the gray. Hale briefed them quietly, pointing out the hatch and the body. Everyone moved methodically, the hush of professionalism masking the undercurrent of unease. "Who found her?" asked Officer Collins, a younger recruit with nervous edge. "Titan did," Hale replied. Dog has instincts that sometimes beat any human detective by miles. The other officers exchanged glances. Titan wasn't just a dog. He was the kind of partner who would save Hale more times than he cared to count. Tonight, he had saved them from missing something vital. As the forensic team worked, Hale crouched beside the pier, staring into the water's dark depths. The fog obscured the horizon, but he felt it anyway, the presence of someone else. Not Titan, not the woman. Someone had been here, watching, waiting. The small-town calm of Brindle Cove was an illusion. Tonight, it had been shattered. Detective? Collins's voice broke through his thoughts. Hale looked up. "We need to canvass the area," Hale said, voice low. "Fog or no fog, someone saw something. Someone always does." The officers fanned out along the pier and nearby paths, flashlights cutting through the mist. Hale stayed with Titan, who now sat beside him, ears flicking toward every whisper of wind or distant splash. The dog's instincts were unnerving in their precision. Hours passed. The fog showed no sign of lifting. Hale's mind replayed the woman's face, her eyes wide and accusing even in death. There was something familiar, a memory gnawing at him that he couldn't place. And then it hit. He had seen her before, months ago, fleetingly at a local diner. She had looked worried, afraid, but who could have guessed the depth of that fear? By dawn, the scene was cordoned off. The body had been removed, forensic samples taken. Hale leaned on the railing, Titan beside him, the fog thinning just enough to reveal the skeletal outline of the pier stretching into the river. Somewhere down there, answers waited, wrapped in shadow. Collins approached, his notepad ready. "Sir, what now?" Hale didn't answer immediately. His gaze stayed on the water, on the way the fog clung to pilings. "We follow the clues," he said finally, "and we listen to the dog. Titan's growl doesn't lie." Even as he spoke, a shiver ran down his spine. Someone had been here, lurking, observing the discovery. Someone who knew exactly what the pier hid, and what it would cost to keep it quiet. The K9’s growl echoed faintly as the first light of morning touched the edges of the fog. It was a warning, a promise, and a challenge all at once. Brindle Cove's secrets were old, tangled, and deadly. Hale had just stepped onto a path that would take him far deeper than the pier, far beyond the safety of daylight, into the heart of something twisted. And he knew, with a certainty that made his blood run cold, that Titan had already sensed it. If you're following the story online, your support by liking and subscribing helps us bring more dark, immersive thrillers like this straight to you. By mid-morning, the fog had thinned into a ghostly haze, revealing Brindle Cove's jagged coastline and the deserted town streets. Hale drove slowly in his unmarked cruiser, Titan riding silently in the passenger seat, ears twitching at every distant sound. The morning air was sharp with salt and frost, carrying the faint odor of seaweed and decay from the pier behind them. Hale's mind replayed the events of the night, the metallic tang of blood, the way Titan had stiffened, his growl low and warning. Every instinct he had screamed that this wasn't a random act, and that the woman's disappearance was just the tip of something far darker. The dispatcher's voice crackled through the radio, breaking the tense silence. "Hale, HQ wants you to stop by the station. They've pulled records on the victim. Name's Claire Whitman, 28, local waitress. No family listed, lives alone on East Wharf Road." Hale's jaw tightened. Claire, that was the name he couldn't place at the diner months ago. A flash of memory returned, her nervous glance, hands twisting a napkin, as if she were hiding from someone. "Understood," he said. "We'll be there in 5. He flicked a glance at Titan, who stared ahead, ears flat. The dog's unease was contagious. Hale had learned over the years that when Titan was this tense, it meant more than instinct. It meant danger was near. The police station was a low, brick building at the edge of town, its windows fogged with condensation. Inside, the fluorescent lights buzzed, casting a sterile glow over stacks of files and half-finished reports. Officer Collins met Hale at the door, face tight with apprehension. "Sir, here's what we've got," Collins said, sliding a folder across the desk. Hale opened it, scanning the contents quickly. Claire Whitman worked double shifts, living paycheck to paycheck. Her friends were sparse. Co-workers mentioned she had been stressed lately, worried about someone following her. Nothing overtly threatening, but there were gaps. Phone record with mysterious numbers, short bursts of calls to unknown locations. She wasn't married, no kids? Hale asked. None. No next of kin listed either, Collins replied. Local neighbors describe her as reserved, polite, but kept to herself. Nobody noticed anything unusual until last week. Then she disappeared from work for 2 days. Came back shaken, didn't say why. Hale's eyes narrowed. The picture emerging wasn't a random victim. It was someone under surveillance, someone living in fear. And the night at the pier suggested the predator had been patient, methodical, calculating. He closed the folder and leaned back. I want a full background check, financials, phone records, anyone she interacted with regularly. Titan, and I will retrace her steps outside the station. The town streets were almost empty as Hale and Titan canvassed Claire's last known locations. Each place they visited, cafes, convenience stores, the bus stop near her apartment, added pieces to a puzzle that didn't yet make sense. Hale noticed subtle signs of someone watching. Discarded cigarette butts, faint footprints on frost-covered pavement, and the occasional reflection in a shop window that didn't match anyone nearby. Titan, Hale murmured, crouching beside the dog at the edge of a back alley. Titan sniffed the air, then suddenly bolted toward a narrow path leading behind the buildings. Hale sprinted after him, breath coming in ragged bursts. At the end of the path, they found a small shed, its door slightly ajar. Inside, faint scratches on the floorboards, remnants of tape, and a strong metallic odor greeted them. Hale's stomach twisted. Whoever had taken Claire, or whoever had been watching her, had left evidence deliberately, as if daring someone to follow. Titan growled low, moving toward the far corner. There, beneath a stack of crates, Hale discovered a notebook, pages filled with cryptic notes, dates, names, observations about Claire's routines. The handwriting was meticulous, obsessive. Someone's been planning this for weeks, maybe months, Hale muttered, flipping through the pages. Titan nudged the notebook with his nose, as if urging Hale to look closer. The entries revealed a chilling pattern. Claire had been tracked, her every move logged, her contacts noted, her habits analyzed. And then there were references to a pier, a fog, and something hidden beneath the boards. Hale felt a cold shiver. The pier, it wasn't just where they found her body. It was the centerpiece of whoever's plan this was. Returning to the station, Hale convened a small team. Detectives and forensic analysts crowded around, faces tense. The notebook was laid out on the table, photographs taken, and every page cataloged. Every entry points to premeditation, Hale explained. This wasn't random. Whoever did this had patience. They knew she would be alone, knew her habits, and knew exactly how to leave her where no one would immediately find her. And the pier? That's not the end. They were careful about where it was hidden, how it would be discovered. Someone wanted us to find her. Collins swallowed nervously. So they want attention? Hale shook his head. Not attention. Control. Fear. They're showing us they're smarter than us, that they can manipulate people like Claire like puppets. And they're still out there. He looked toward Titan, who sat with unwavering focus, eyes scanning the station's corridors as if sensing threats humans couldn't. Hale realized the dog's instincts weren't just about Claire's body. Titan could smell the predator's presence lingering in the air, waiting, watching. Later that afternoon, Hale visited Claire's apartment. It was a small, sparsely furnished unit above a corner store, quiet and unremarkable. Nothing seemed out of place, except for subtle traces, muddy footprints on the kitchen floor, a faint scuff on the balcony railing. Hale noted them carefully. Someone had been here. Someone had known Claire's routines intimately. A neighbor, an elderly woman named Mrs. Callahan, answered when Hale knocked. Her hand shook slightly, knitting needles clattering to the floor as she spoke. I saw her, detective, she said softly. She came home late, looked scared. Sometimes someone followed her, I think, at night. I didn't say anything, didn't want trouble. Hale nodded. Did you see who it was? She shook her head. No, just a shadow. A man, I think. Always watching. Always waiting. The word shadow lingered in Hale's mind. It was literal and figurative. The predator existed in both the open and hidden, controlling and manipulating from the darkness. As they left, Hale paused on the balcony, overlooking the town. Titan stood alert beside him, ears swiveling. A chill wind carried the faintest metallic scent from the direction of the pier. Hale's instinct screamed at him. This wasn't over. It would get worse before it got better. That evening, Hale returned to the pier alone, despite the warnings. He needed to retrace Titan's steps, to see the scene through the dog's eyes. Fog rolled in again, thicker this time, wrapping the pier in a suffocating gray. Titan sniffed along the edges, Growl low, nose pressed to ground. Hale followed, careful, every sense alert. Beneath the hatch where Claire had been found, he noticed a subtle mark, fresh, not part of the prior investigation. Someone had been here today, leaving a silent message. They were still watching, still orchestrating from shadows. Hale felt a cold anger bubble beneath the surface. Whoever had done this wasn't human in the moral sense. They were calculating, meticulous, and completely devoid of empathy. He crouched beside Titan. "We're close, boy. We'll find them." Titan's growl responded. Not just a warning, but a vow. Hale knew the dog understood what he did. The chase had only just begun, and the predator was clever, patient, and merciless. As Hale stood, the fog parted for a brief moment, revealing the skeletal structure of the pier stretching into the dark water. Somewhere out there, hidden in plain sight, the mastermind waited. And tonight, Hale realized, would be a night of choices. Trusting the dog, following instincts, and confronting a truth the town of Brindle Cove had buried far too long. The pier was quiet, but Hale felt the eyes watching him, the fog concealing a presence that would not remain hidden for long. Titan's growl cut through the silence, low and certain, signaling the next move. And Hale understood with a sinking certainty that the real game, the dangerous, twisted heart of it, was only just beginning. Night had returned to Brindle Cove, but this time it felt heavier, almost suffocating. The fog rolled in from the sea like a living entity, swallowing the pier, the streets, even the dim lights of the town. Marcus Hale parked his cruiser at the edge of the pier, Titan at his side, tail low but tense, ears twitching to every sound. The metallic scent lingered in the air, sharper now, mixed with something fouler. Fear, anticipation, maybe blood. Hale's gut told him the predator wasn't just somewhere out there. They were here, watching. He tightened his coat and slipped quietly onto the pier. Titan led the way, paused soundless against the frost-slick boards. Hale's flashlight cut through the fog, catching glimpses of broken planks, rusted railings, and shadows that seemed almost alive. He stopped near the hatch where Claire had been found. The K9 sniffed along the edges, growling low and insistent. Something was beneath the boards, waiting. Hale took a deep breath, gripping his flashlight like a weapon. He had tracked the evidence, retraced the steps, and followed the obsessions left behind in notebooks and scattered clues, but he hadn't anticipated the final layer. The predator had been orchestrating every move with precision, including their approach to the pier tonight. Titan pawed at the hatch. Hale bent down, prying open carefully. Inside, the smell was overpowering, a mixture of damp wood, sea salt, and copper. But it wasn't Claire. She was gone. The hatch revealed a narrow staircase descending into darkness, almost like a hidden cellar beneath the pier. Titan growled, refusing to descend, but Hale understood. This was it, the final confrontation. He switched on a handheld flashlight and began his descent. The staircase groaned under his weight, and the damp, icy air stung his lungs. At the bottom, a narrow corridor stretched ahead, walls slick with water and grime. Footsteps echoed faintly, though Hale knew he was alone, or at least he should have been. A sudden movement made him freeze. A shadow detached itself from the far wall. A figure stepped forward, hands raised slightly in mock surrender. "Detective Hale," the voice said, smooth, almost familiar. "I wonder when you'd show up." Hale's heart froze. The face was recognizable. Officer Collins, the young recruit who had followed his every instruction over the past 2 days. But there was something in his eyes, a cold precision, a calculated detachment, that Hale hadn't seen before. Titan growled, low and guttural, hackles raised. Hale gripped the flashlight tighter. "Collins, what the hell?" Hale demanded. "You've been following the case, not helping?" Collins smiled, almost amused. "Helping? No, I've been guiding. Every move you've made, every clue you've uncovered. I made sure you saw what I wanted you to see." Claire, she was inconvenient. Hale felt bile rise in his throat. Betrayal. The trust he had placed in the young officer, the teamwork, the shared nights tracking evidence. It had all been a lie. Titan barked, stepping forward, teeth bared. Collins' calm demeanor didn't waver. "You don't understand," Collins said, moving closer, hand twitching toward a hidden weapon. "She knew too much, stumbled on things she shouldn't have. I gave her a choice, she made the wrong one." The flashlight caught something in Collins' hand, a small vial of liquid, almost invisible in the dim light. Hale's mind raced. Toxicology, incapacitation, murder premeditated and executed with cold precision. The same metallic scent from the pier. It was his signature, the predator's mark. Titan lunged, barking furiously, and Collins flinched, dropping the vial. Hale seized a moment, rushing forward. The two collided in a struggle, metal echoing against the damp walls. Collins fought back with surprising strength, adrenaline surging through both of them. But Titan, trained and relentless, pinned Collins' arm with a precise bite, forcing him to release the vial. Hale kicked it away and restrained him with a zip tie from his belt. "You're finished," Hale growled, chest heaving, heart pounding in sync with Titan's growls. "It's over." Collins laughed, dark and hollow, even as he was restrained. "Do you think it's over? You have no idea what you stumbled into. Brindle Cove, the secrets run deeper than you think. I was just the surface. There are others, and they're watching." Hale didn't respond. He dragged Collins toward the staircase, Titan close behind, growling as the fog seemed to press against him from above. Every step back up felt like climbing through a nightmare, the weight of betrayal and violence pressing down. Outside, the fog had begun to lift slightly, revealing the skeletal pier bathed in pale moonlight. Patrol cars were waiting at the base, officers alert but cautious. Hale handed Collins over, keeping Titan close. As backup processed the scene, Hale allowed himself a moment to breathe. The night had been long, the betrayal bitter, but he had stopped the killer. Claire's body had been removed, evidence collected, and Collins would face justice. Yet a lingering unease remained. The words Collins had spoken echoed in his mind. Others watching. He knew she hadn't been the only target. The town of Brindle Cove, with its quiet streets and small-town charm, hid more than just one predator. Hale's instincts, sharpened by years and reinforced by Titan's unwavering loyalty, told him this case was only one thread in a much larger, darker tapestry. Days later, Hale returned to the pier alone. The fog was gone, replaced by the soft light of dawn spilling across the water. The pier, once a place of terror, now felt silent, almost peaceful. He knelt, letting Titan sniff along the edge, paying respect to the dog's instincts that had saved countless lives, including his own. Hale thought of Claire, the young woman whose life had been stolen, and felt the quiet weight of sorrow and resolve. He whispered her name, a promise carried on the wind that justice would extend beyond Collins, beyond immediate threat. A faint rustle caught his attention. Titan stiffened, but Hale only nodded at the dog, letting the moment pass. Some threats were still out there, yes, but this night was a victory, small and human in its scale. The pier, the fog, the shadows, they hadn't won tonight. Hale stood, gaze fixed on the horizon where the sea met the sky. Brindle Cove would recover, slowly, though the scars would remain. He patted Titan's head, a silent acknowledgement of the bond between man and dog, instinct and intellect, courage and loyalty. As they walked back toward the town, Hale knew the truth he carried was heavier than any case file. Darkness lingered, waiting for opportunity, but so did vigilance, patience, and the unshakable bond of trust between man, dog, and the fragile hope of justice. The fog would return one day. Shadows would stir again. But tonight, beneath the pier, among the secrets and lies, justice had its quiet, piercing moment. And as Hale and Titan disappeared into the first light of morning, the town slept unaware but safer for one night at least.